During the history of the NBA, there have been thousands of players who have played in a single NBA game. Of all of those players, there have been varying levels of skill. Some players incredibly skilled, and others not so much. The question is, which player is the most skilled of all time? A lot of people will point to LeBron James, claiming he is the most complete player to ever play the game. A solid argument. He is a capable shooter, an elite passer, has high basketball IQ, if not the highest ever. He had elite defensive ability when he was with the Miami Heat when he would guard 1 through 5, and his ability to maintain his health throughout his career is absolutely lucky, but also takes a tremendous amount of skill. Is he the most skilled of all time though? Kevin Durant catches a lot of flack from NBA fans for his decision to join the Warriors and because of the whole burners fiasco, but his skill level is undeniable. He's been praised by tons of NBA legends, including the late great Kobe Bryant. Any player would love a seal of approval from Bean. Durant is a 7-footer who can handle the ball like a guard, is an elite shooter as displayed by his 2 50-40-90 seasons, and he doesn't get enough credit for his ability on the defensive end. Durant is an absolute nightmare for opposing teams on both ends of the court. Let's not forget Kyrie Irving. His ability to get to any spot on the floor, making up dribble moves as he goes instead of predetermining what he's going to do with the basketball is remarkable. Kyrie also has incredible basketball IQ. For anyone arguing against that, you don't become one of the greatest ball handlers of all time by accident. His creativity with the ball has been cultivated over the years of practice. His ability to defy what is conventional with a basketball is what truly separates him from the other elite players in the NBA. He can pass when he wants to, is a legitimate 4-level scorer, and his ability to contort his body at the rim at times, simply ignoring contact, is sensational. I mean, it's hard to argue with one of the 2 greatest players to ever touch a basketball, but I'm going to. Because there's another player that is the most skilled player in NBA history, and I never hear his name brought up for most skilled ever. When we evaluate one player's skill versus another player's skill, we have to determine if a greater gap for one skill supersedes a smaller gap for another skill. To help any confusion over what I just said, think about it this way. Kyrie Irving has better handles than Steph Curry. Steph Curry is a better shooter than Kyrie Irving, but the gap between these players for these 2 skills is not the same. Steph Curry is closer in skill to Kyrie in terms of ball handling than Kyrie is to Curry in terms of shooting. So if we only look at these 2 skills, then we say that Steph Curry is more skilled than Kyrie Irving. Basketball isn't just dribbling and shooting though. It's made up of many complex skills, some tangible and some intangible. What player over the course of the history of the NBA is an elite shooter, can pass well with both hands, has elite handle, ridiculous conditioning, incredible basketball IQ, the ability to finish at the rim, is a 4-level scorer, meaning he can finish at the rim, score from mid-range, splash threes, and hit free throws, can rebound the basketball with the best at his position, and is an incredible leader? Go ahead and guess. The answer is Stephen Curry. If you watch the NBA, you know Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. He's currently 12th all time in 3-point percentage, has the most 3-pointers made of any player in NBA history, and has seemingly limitless range, making 30-footers look routine. But he's more than just a 3-point shooter. He's also the current leader in free throw percentage all time at 90.87%, and he is 7th all time in true shooting percentage at 62.7%. The most impressive part about this stat being that you have to go down to 17th on the list to find the next guard. Reggie Miller, another top 5 shooter all time. Steph can shoot. I know that. You know that. What else can he do? The better question is, what can't he do? Stephen Curry is a great passer. He throws pinpoint passes with both his left and right hand. The importance of this, being able to pass with both hands opens up the entire floor to run your offense. Think about it like this. If a player could only pass with his right hand, any attack of the basket from the left side of the floor tells the defense exactly what that player is going to do. The defense would know that that player isn't going to pass. The defense would know that that player was going to either try to get all the way to the rim or shoot a step back shot. Now, knowing what a player is going to do doesn't necessarily mean you can stop it. Example, James Harden. He hardly ever went right, yet teams still couldn't stop him from going left. So being able to pass with both hands doesn't separate Steph from all the other all-time greats in terms of skill. I mean, LeBron can pass with both hands. What other skills make Steph Curry the most skilled of all time? Steph Curry is one of the most conditioned athletes in the NBA. And yes, conditioning is a skill. The ability to run around for an entire game, to have guys go at you to try to tire you out, is something you can practice. Curry's conditioning allows him to maintain his other skills as well. Being fully conditioned means he still has his legs at the end of games, allowing him to use his best asset, his shooting. His conditioning also allows him to play lots of off-ball, which lets his teammates' abilities shine. And his coaching staff is then able to have a more diverse offense, forcing opposing teams into more adjustments. And there's absolutely no drop-off when Steph plays off-ball. How many players can that be said about? That they are just as good off-ball as on-ball? Not many, if any at all. Steph also has incredible basketball IQ. You want to know how I can tell if a player has incredible basketball IQ? If they have the previous skills I mentioned, they have solid basketball IQ. Steph knows when to shoot and when to defer to teammates. Knowing who and when to throw passes to is one of the most obvious signs that a player has basketball intelligence. And a player can't play off ball well unless they understand defensive coverages, leverages, and spacing. The skill that Curry never gets enough credit for is his ability to finish at the rim. I will concede that Kyrie Irving is the best guard of all time at finishing at the rim, but Steph is a close second. Time and time again, I'll be watching a game, Steph will dance into the paint to attempt a ridiculous layup. I'll be thinking, no way that's going in. And then of course it drops in. Combining his elite level handles with his ability to finish in traffic, spectacular. And he does it without the ability to dunk. It's infinitely more difficult to be a high percentage finisher in the paint when you can only attempt layups. It's the reason I would put Steph over someone like Russell Westbrook in terms of ability to finish at the rim as a guard, despite Westbrook's electric highlight reel dunks. Iman Shumpert said on Gilbert Arenas' podcast that Kyrie Irving is one of the only players that dribbles without a plan. I know Steph Curry is on that list. If not, he must be a puppet master if he was able to plan out this sequence of moves against the Clippers ahead of time.
Curry splits the defense behind the back, fires a three.
The handle speaks for itself. Nothing more needs to be said. If you've gotten this far, I already know what you're going to be yelling. Stephen Curry doesn't play defense. How can he be the most skilled NBA player of all time when he doesn't even play on both sides of the ball? Quite frankly, I agree. Sort of. Steph is an average to below average on-ball defender. Over the years, he has definitely improved, but he's still not among the elite, guard or otherwise. But the narrative that he's a bad defender is unfair because there's more to defense than just on-ball defense. If defense was only on ball, the game wouldn't be played 5-on-5. But Steph is bad on defense. He's so bad on defense that he's led the league in total steals twice and steals per game once. Steph isn't an all-world defender, but he is a solid off-ball defender. What he does lack on the defensive end is made up with his ability to rebound the ball at a high level for a guard. I don't know why people fail to acknowledge that rebounding is part of defense. You are literally taking possession away from the other team when you rebound. That's the literal definition of defense. You are preventing the other team from scoring. He's 14th all-time in rebounds for point guards and 9th all-time in rebounds per game for point guards. He might not be Oscar Robertson, Magic, Westbrook, or Jason Kidd, but Steph is an elite rebounding guard. This is a crucial skill for any player because the ability to fight amongst the trees for a board, then bring the ball up the court without having to wait for an outlet pass, allows players to get up the floor before the defense is set and you get easier looks at the basket. Stephen Curry is the epitome of leadership. If Chris Paul is the best leader in the NBA, as Charles Barkley has said, Steph is either second or third. He is one of those players that leads by example. He also isn't afraid to put his ego aside for the betterment of the team and to win. He's in the same class as D Wade and Chris Bosh in that respect. How many NBA players do you think would be able to give up being the main guy on their team in order to win more championships? How many guys could do that while never complaining? How many guys would be able to hold their tongue and not go at the media while they constantly call that player's resume into question? The answer is like 10. Maybe. Steph Curry is elite in every skill category but one, and the one he is deficient in, he makes up for. Kyrie has Steph beat in ability to finish at the rim and handles, but Curry has Kyrie beat everywhere else. And the gap in skill in those categories that Curry has over Kyrie is greater than the gap in skill in the categories that Kyrie has over Curry. Said another way, Curry is closer in skill to Kyrie in handles and ability to finish at the rim than Kyrie is in skill to Curry in rebounding, off-ball defense, shooting, passing, basketball IQ, and leadership. Stephen Curry is more skilled than Kyrie Irving. What about comparing Steph versus LeBron or Kevin Durant? The reason Steph Curry is more skilled than either of those two players is because Steph Curry is 6'2" minus the shoes, 185 pounds soaking wet, yet is still on par with, if not greater in some areas than, either LeBron or Kevin Durant. It's much easier to get a shot off when you're 7 foot versus when you're 6'2". Steph has to overcome more challenges to be as good as he is. How else would the shortest player to win multiple NBA MVP awards accomplish this feat? There's no other way than with pure skill. Thank you for your time.